Golden Arrow Bus Services is urging commuters to make alternative transport arrangements once again today. Spokesperson Bronwen Dyke-Beyer says the company is working on less than 50% capacity. This follows several attacks on its buses, with around 4 of their vehicles torched yesterday alone.
It's 4 buses that were set alight this morning. Things have become very, very difficult today. I'm sure you've heard that things have been volatile, all kinds of flare-ups of unrest and vandalism. So it's very, very difficult for us to operate. We are now having to operate a limited service this evening, which we are very, obviously with deep regret, we're having to do that. But it is becoming very, very difficult for us to operate. And unfortunately, obviously, our drivers, some of them don't want to come into work, and others we just can't get to. We have staff transport our own buses, which collect our drivers, and we just can't get to them. So it's very, very difficult here in Cape Town. We're probably running at about 50%, maybe slightly less, so it's fairly limited. Obviously, we would like to run at 100% capacity, but we just don't have that option. So we will run services for as long as we can with the manpower available to us. But we will ask passengers to please, if they are able to possibly seek alternative transport. Otherwise, we will do our best to get to everybody.
The bus service has also turned to the courts to force Santaco to end attacks on its buses. On Sunday, it obtained an interim court order against operators to halt threats and damage to its fleet.
So this evening we have actually gone back to the court to seek relief in terms of asking, we received a court order yesterday. We've asked them to please, for Santaco to please prove that they have taken all reasonable steps to ensure that their affiliates are aware of the fact that they shouldn't interfere with our services and that they've been ordered to do so. And then also to reveal to us the names of any of their associates who were arrested for this morning's attacks on our buses. So we are taking that stance at the moment, but, you know, very difficult to know what's going to happen tomorrow. We expected after the interdict was served yesterday that things would be more peaceful, but then as soon as taxis started blockading the N2, 2 of our buses were set alight. So very difficult to know what kind of services we are going to offer. Obviously, we have to be responsive as things happen. If we can't go into areas, we simply can't go there. So I think it's going to be very difficult for Cape Town's commuters tomorrow, very limited services, but we're going to keep everybody as updated as we can. But I think bosses need to know that it's not business as usual, unfortunately.
All right, if you're trying to plan your day ahead in Cape Town, let's get you a live update on what the situation is looking like at this hour. Michelle Craig is my co-anchor, joining us live from that city. And we now know, Michelle, that the city of Cape Town has been able to obtain that interdict. The obvious question is, how effective will that really be?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, Ayanda, and a very good morning to our viewers as well. Coming to you live from a rainy Cape Town CBD, and there is so much uncertainty around what this day, day 6 of the strike, will bring for the city. We heard there from Golden Arrow Bus Services the fact that they are unable to, give any commuters assurances of what they can offer this morning. The point of the story is that if you are desperate to get to work or to school or to the city centre for any other reason, you will have to make alternative plans for transport this morning. Let's give you an update on what happened yesterday, Ayanda, and it's in light of that interdict that was granted to Golden Arrow Bus Services insofar as violence and looting in connection with the strike is concerned. Fair to say, I think, that interdict had little to no effect. We now know that 9 buses have been damaged as a result of the strike. Yesterday, 72 arrests made in connection with violence, minibus taxi-related violence insofar as the stay away is concerned. That number of 72 is the official number from the SAPS. But last night, JP Smith, the MMC for Safety and Security here in the Western Cape, on his Facebook page, giving a wide-ranging update on various numbers in connection with the strike, actually said that number of arrests is much higher, from 72, which is the official tally from police. He says it's at 101, and this is for public violence and for attempted looting. Insofar as looting and violence is concerned, there were several reports of incidents of that nature in Guguletu, in Nyanga, Khayelitsha, Mfuleni and Kraaifontein, and we understand that 40 9 minibus taxis were also impounded. When we spoke to you yesterday from our live position, we were describing to you a situation where that entire stretch of the N2 approach to the airport was blocked by several taxis. I think there were almost 170 odd taxis. Well, 49 of those taxis were impounded yesterday as a result of that blockade on the N2. Several incidents of serious violence being reported as well. If our viewers were tracking the story on social media, they would have seen that very disturbing video of a vehicle being attacked. It's around that N2 Borchard's Quarry area. We understand now that one motorist was shot dead and there were 2 injuries reported. We now know that 2 people have died as a direct result of this taxi stay away. A massive impact on schools and learners as well. We've been talking about, tens of thousands of pupils unable to get to class as a result of the strike. Well, yesterday alone, that number went into the hundreds of thousands. Almost 450,000 learners prevented from getting to class. The number of teachers also unable to get to their posts, numbering at around 20,000. We spoke to Satu yesterday here on the AM report, who said they were confused by the decision of provincial education authorities not to close schools to keep learners and to keep teachers safe. One wonders how, this ongoing strike now in, day 6, the late stages of day 6, whether that decision will indeed change.
Absolutely. I mean, a big part of the disruption yesterday was caused by those blockages that you've just spoken about on main arteries. From what I can see behind you, it seems that there's a much easier flow of traffic, at least in the CBD. Is that true?
It's difficult to tell at this stage, but you can't see it in our picture. But above me is the bridge, which is sort of the main pathway to get to town, one of the main pathways to get to town, but certainly the main pathway to get to the V&A waterfront. It's now almost 6:15 this morning. It would ordinarily be incredibly busy. It's not the kind of numbers we would see on any given work day. Is it perhaps fear feeding into whether people have decided to take the day and rather stay safe? Is it as a result of people just being unable to get to the CBD because there are no taxis available? I mean, if you tally, the fact that there are no taxis, that Golden Arrow bus services is operating at 50% capacity, that might just be the reason for this lack of traffic. I do hear that traffic is picking up just a bit behind me, but we'll have to see as we get closer to 7 o'clock, Ayanda, whether those numbers do indeed increase. Insofar as the impact on businesses, on restaurants, on tourists is concerned, I can tell you with a fair amount of certainty, having made my way around various parts of Cape Town. We know that the effects of the strike is being felt across the province, but having made my way around Cape Town yesterday, I can tell you one thing. It is primarily the townships that have been impacted by the strike so far. Certainly insofar as people are unable to move around from the townships. When you move closer to the V&A waterfront, for example, the situation is almost uncanny. Tourists abound, restaurants are open. Certainly that was the situation late yesterday. And really, the impact of the strike, what analysts will tell you is that part of what the aim is here is to cripple those kinds of businesses in the CBD, businesses that rely on primarily black workers in the city of Cape Town so that they can open their doors. That would be one of the aims, certainly insofar as the strike is concerned. You could feel that in some businesses where they were forced to close their doors just because they didn't have any workers present. But certainly insofar as the V&A waterfront is concerned, up until 5 o'clock last night, it did appear to be business as usual. We know that the waterfront and their stores are open until 9 p.m. in the evening. That certainly was not the case yesterday, with a decision taken by business owners to shut their doors early and to let their workers try and find a way back home. So eventually, you could feel the effects of the strike closer to the CBD.
Absolutely. Another uncertain day ahead, or a day of uncertainty, I should say. Michelle Craig, live to us there from the Cape Town CBD. For now, thanks very much indeed.